All right, so she has been sitting here for about a week. Let's see if that battery held up. Oh, that's a good sign. Awesome. All right, we're good to go. Time for a road trip. So I got something I've always been wanting, I can't say I've been looking forward to, but always been wanting to try with my Camaro here. And one of you guys left a comment on my last video, and I decided while I'm still waiting for Tahiti's heads to come back, it's only been a few days at this point since I dropped them off, I figured let's go ahead and try this out. So today we're going to be finding out what my Camaro's gas mileage is. Now, just to recap, this car has a stockish LSA blower. It's at max pulley, making around 15.5 pounds of boost. It has a ported snout, BTR stage 4 PDS blower cam. It has tune time ported LY6 heads. It's like an LS3 head with it has a little kind of nylon blower spacer. I'm just trying to think of all the mods I did to this thing. Obviously it has BTR springs, it has the trunnion upgrade, Summit Racing, forged bottom end, you know, forged pistons, rods, forged crank, and I'm running boost juice for meth, and it's just on pump gas 93. So I know for a fact this car absolutely goes through gas. I put like 20 bucks in it every few days if I'm only going to and from work, and like 80% of that drive is highway. So going down to tune time today, well actually no, we're not going today. Today I'm going to fuel it up, I'm going to drive it to work. Tomorrow we're going to be going to tune time. But yeah, even that trip, it's going to be primarily highway. So I think that's going to give this, it's really going to be like the best mileage we're going to be able to get out of it. So depending on what that number is, we're just going to know that the city, it's going to be even worse than that. All right, so just to be sure, I'm going to give it one more squeeze here until it stops. And that's it. I'll do the same when I go to refill it up. Now, today I'm just going to be taking the car to work, and tomorrow, like I said, we're going to be going to tune time. And from here on out, I am going to be driving incredibly carefully. In fact, the most careful I've ever driven this car, because I don't want to skew my results, and I really want to give this thing like the best chance that we're going to get. However, I can't promise I'm not going to get on a little bit on the way down to tune time. At least once, like a little 5-second pull. I don't think it's going to skew anything too much. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling when I'm driving down there tomorrow. But yeah, since the last video, I have in fact swapped the water out of the ice tank in the back. So that's been drained. I put some coolant in it just in time too, because now we're actually like in freezing weather. And there is salt on the road. This is probably the first time I'm ever driving this car in like 5 years with salt on the road. However, it is just for a couple of days, so I don't think it's gonna do anything. Plus the bottom of the car needs some rust repair anyway, so yeah, who cares? I just really hope that I can get to tune time and back on this tank of gas, because just going to work like pulls it down like a quarter of a tank. And tune time, I think it's like 60 miles each way, so roughly 120 miles round trip. Plus going to work, we'll probably have around 150 miles on it. by the time we go and refill, which isn't much, but I don't, we can only go as far as the tank of gas is going to take us. Guys, so here we are. This is the next day. I put about 25 miles on her yesterday, to and from work. Shut up, Siri. And you can see we're just below full there. The problem with these gas tanks, or these fuel gauges, or a combination of both, is that the gas tank is shaped, it's like a V, and the pickup tube, well, the pump or the pickup is right at the bottom of that V. So yeah, when you first fill up, the gas lasts a while, but as it goes down, you get less and less, and the gauge is going to go down faster and faster. So I'm actually really hoping I can get to and from tune time on this tank of gas and make it back to the same pump. If not, I'm just going to have to fill up along the way, and we'll have to calculate it on the road. Alright, so I'm back on the parkway. We're sitting at pretty much half a tank, maybe a hair over. I've gotten to a point where traffic is kind of flying by me. I'm going exactly the speed limit. So I'm feeling confident that I could get a little bit of a pull out of this thing and not skew our results too much. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Woo! It's been a while. All right. That's all I'm doing. Oh, yeah, she is spinning. Yeah. She spins third all right. Fourth is all right. She definitely spins third. All right, so I managed to make it back to Staten Island. I'm in a little traffic now, but our fuel gauge is reading just over a quarter of a tank, which is actually pretty good. I never actually had the fuel last this long. I haven't been able to actually go all the way to work, come back, drive all the way out to tune time, come back, and still have a quarter of a tank. However, I'm still going to head straight to the gas station now and try to grab that same pump that we filled up on. And yeah, ideally, you'd want to drive more. If this was like any other car, I'd take it all the way down to empty. If this car had a gas light, I'd take it all the way down to the gas light. However, these gauges are not the most accurate things, and I prefer not to run out of gas. So yeah, we're gonna fill her up. We'll head on over to the garage. We'll kind of average everything out. I got to add up all the logs in the app to see what we have for actual mileage, and I'll give you a closer look at the Trans Am's heads. So same thing here. I'm just gonna fill it back up again until it clicks, and then just give it one more squeeze, and we'll take note of how many gallons it took. All right, just stop. Let's give it one more squeeze. And we're done. That's pretty much exactly, actually the price of gas went down a little bit since yesterday, but I think that's about the same amount it took last time. Hatch squeak is annoying as shit, man. right, so it's the next day. I have not yet calculated our gas mileage. So before we do that, let's just take a closer look at the Trans Am's cleaned up CNC'd heads. So right away, just like the Tahoe heads, you can see these babies look like brand new. They were vapor honed, so they were completely cleaned up. And then they also had a valve job done, a CNC, and a little bit of a milling done to them. They were just shaved a little bit just to kind of clean up the gasket surface. All the valves are original, so these are the stock L83 valves that I pulled out. You'll see this in the upcoming Trans Am video that I'm like halfway done with. I shot like half of it like 6 months ago, and then here's the other half, me finally getting the heads done. So this is a little bit of a spoiler for Trans Am fans, but yeah, they look great. I got BTR springs installed. They went and they did a, like I said, they did the valve job and they set the spring height. And obviously they have new valve seals, new valve guides, all that good stuff. For the CNC, you could see they did get opened up a little bit. The porting doesn't go all the way around. Now, I know absolutely nothing about porting or CNCing, but I'm assuming that's because there may be no benefit to having this ported all the way through. Maybe you want a little rough down here. Maybe this is just too thin to go further in with. But it's just a little bit of a light porting. I mean, it could also be that these heads already flow, you know, really good from the factory. But this is, if I can focus here for you guys, this is the exhaust side. Before I spin it around, I'll go ahead and give you guys a look at the deck surface. That cleaned up nicely. Once again, I mean, look at that. They look like friggin' brand new. The combustion chambers were so crusty on these things. And I did break these down myself, and once again, that's gonna be in the next Trans Am episode, me actually pulling them apart before dropping them off bare. All right, here we are on the intake side. Kind of more of the same. Poured it all the way through. Same thing, just kind of at the bottom here is a little bit that wasn't touched. These all look pretty much the same. Most of the porting was done towards the top. Something I'm very, very happy about, because they went and they got vapor honed. All the GDI holes were all just blasted and cleaned out, because those injectors, you'll see in the video, they were absolutely stuck in there, and there was so much crud and corrosion in those holes. I actually broke a bunch of the fuel system components that I had ordered new. So yeah, these babies are finally back. This is all I was waiting for to finish the other half of the video. Well, now I have to wait for this to get off the engine stand back in the Tahoe. Then I could go put the, well, it's back there somewhere, the Trans Am's engine back on here. We'll reassemble it, and it could go back in the car, and then that'll be another episode in, finished with the Trans Am. Like I said, half of that video is already shot. And then we'll go and you know, clean all this crap off. But most of this is going to be going back in the Tahoe. And then, yeah, this car is going to return in January. All right, so on my phone here, in the app that I use to track everything, I have all of the distances that I drove. I kind of started and stopped it as I went. I didn't want it like running when I got out of the car, or I forget about it and then I just put so much miles on it that was just me walking or something, or just moving the phone around. So let's just write all these down so you guys could see them. 59.38, 62.80, 13.40, 12.69, 0.33. Now, honestly, anything over 10, which sounds like abysmal, I'd be pleased with, because, like I said, this car, it sucks a lot of gas. I mean, it only has, I think it's like a 15.5 gallon fuel tank, and we fueled up with 10.398 gallons right there. So we're just going to divide that total, which comes out to 148.6. And then we're going to divide that by, I think this is how division works, is it? 10.398. something like that. And then we're gonna end up with, dun, 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 dun. All right, 14.29 miles per gallon. That's actually not bad. That's pretty much, that's about what the Tahoe gets, or at least it got before we did all this work to it. Yeah, so I'm actually really, I'm pretty pleased with that. Now, keep in mind, so like I said, I think it's like a 15.5 gallon tank that car has, so there's probably about 5 gallons left in the tank. 14 miles, but that's on the highway. So yeah, I probably could have easily drove to and from work that day, just to get a little more data. But that's like 80, 90% highway. So highway mileage is like 14.29. However, remember the car is not tuned for fuel economy in any way, shape, or form. So this is pretty much just balls to the wall, all out, just on edge tune for power. However, I can get a different tune from my good friend and tuner James that does all the tuning on all my cars. He actually said he can send me a file with a little less timing, something that's more like MPG orientated, and we can load that up to the car. We could run that and we could see how much of an improvement it makes. Now, city-wise, it's probably like under 10 city, I would assume, because especially the way that I normally drive, it's definitely under 10. It's probably like 6 or maybe 8 miles per gallon if I was just driving in the city, getting caught in traffic. However, I keep my foot out of it on the highway. You know, that's not bad for what the car's making and the tune that's in it. Now, from here on out, you're probably not going to see much of the Camaro. As I mentioned earlier, I believe I mentioned earlier in the video, it's going to be stored for winter now. And I'm going to continue to work on these projects. So we're going to get the Tahoe up and running. We're going to get the Trans Am taken care of winter next year. So sometime in January, possibly towards the end, depending on how long it takes me to finish the Hoodie. And then through the spring, we're just going to finish this car as quickly as possible, because my plan then is to bring the Camaro in here in place of this and then break that down, kind of do the same thing, at least with the interior. I want to redo the exhaust again, something a little bit better, a little fancier. And the interior just needs to be gutted and kind of gone through and rust fixed and a bunch of stuff like that. Squeaks and rattles and plastic falling apart. And yeah, that's probably when she'll be back. And maybe we'll go hit the track again next year and we'll see if we can finally get that 9 out of it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the mileage. Is that good? Do you think it was going to be worse, better? I know a lot of you guys kind of guessed really high just on my community post. Some people said, community post and Instagram. Some of you guys said as high as 26 I was going to get, somewhere as low as like 5 or 8. So 14.5 is somewhere in between. I know a lot of you guys kind of guessed in that area. So that's pretty accurate. But yeah, it's not meant to be efficient. So 14.2, 14.3, is that good? I don't freaking know.